Another edition of 100% Canucks. John Shannon here, Landon Ferraro in Vancouver. So, Landon, today our guest is Max Sasson. Oh, I said it wrong there. I'm gonna have to ask him how to say his name because when he came up the first time, it was Max Sasson. So yep. So we'll have to. Well, tell you what, we'll go right to
John,
right to the source.
When he came up, it was Max Sasson. Then it turned to Sasson for about a weekend, and then it went back to Sasson, and now this year we're back to Sasson.
Yeah, but that sounds
what I keep saying.
That sounds francophone, though.
I know, but I just keep going with it. It's like when you don't know something, just say it confidently.
Yeah. Hi, Max. Or I don't use nicknames, but somebody invariably would just call him Sass.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So how has he impressed you so far this season in a really, let's face it, in a really tough season?
It has been a really tough season, and to be fair, I would say even tougher for him, like a guy like him.
Why is that?
Because he's playing center.
Okay.
And, like pretty quickly you're down two centermen, and all of a sudden, instead of him being your fourth line center, you're being asked to be the second line center. And now you're playing completely different matchups, completely different minutes than what you're ready for at that moment, right? And so he's had to take on a lot more responsibility. I'll be honest, and I've said this a few times, I'm a big Max fan. Watching him in Abbotsford and in Vancouver last year, his speed, his tenacity on the puck, like I really like his game. Coming into this year, through the first 15, 20 games or so, I was really starting to think if he was a bit more of like kind of that bubble NHL American League player.
Mm-hmm.
And
a 4A player.
Exactly. And to me, the reason that was popping up and a little bit unfair was the matchups and the minutes that he was having to play. But it just seemed like his speed went to, like, he kind of got himself into a tough spot. Like, he'd get himself skated into the corner or something like that. And the play would kind of die. But you can tell that he's put in a lot of work, and he's not someone that gets overwhelmed. Maybe it's because he is 25 coming in. He's not a 20-year-old. Mm-hmm. He can handle it a bit better, but he worked through it, and he's really been pretty good over the last stretch and starting to improve. He's starting to figure out how to use his speed in a more productive way. And I think he's taken some steps.
Well, the last 30 games of this regular season, before and after the Olympic break, this is a perfect chance for him to grow as a player, right? This is really, with the youth on this team and what is going to happen with the transformation of the team, a guy like Sasson is, going to have to prove to people what he can do, but he's going to be, I feel he's going to be given a chance to prove himself too. And that's important through all of this. Yeah.
Like the Canucks as an organization really like him, right? Like he's a good player, but looking at the guy off the ice, he's someone that has a work ethic, is good in the room. His teammates like him. Has a drive and a fire in him. He wants to get better. He wants to grab more minutes and not just be a guy that plays a good handful of games and then has to find a way to finish out the rest of his career. He wants to be a full-time NHL guy. So he'll get those opportunities, and it's just about capitalizing on them and not trying to do too much, but, push and show what you can do.
All right, so let's hear from Max Sasson on this edition of 100% Canucks.
I won't keep you long. Darren Millard with a tip for everyone who loves great hockey podcasts like this one. John Shannon and I host the OG of 100% Hockey, coming your way multiple times a week. The guest list is the best you will find. Multiple shows a week ensures you won't miss out on any news And we dig even deeper into the biggest stories around the NHL. Most of our guests are also friends, so I promise there'll be more conversation beyond the X's and the O's. John really does get bored with that after a while. So join us for 100% Hockey. The name says it all. Subscribe now while you enjoy thinking about it, and enjoy.
This is 100% Canucks. Landon Ferraro, John Shannon, joined by Max Sasson. Okay, Max, forgive me. And so I always like going to the horse's mouth. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Sasson. So I don't know. Sometimes people throw like a little, like recently since Shorty did the whole thing where he switched my name from Sasson to Sasson, but now people are starting to throw a little French on it. There's no French, it's just Sasson. So
it's basically SAS and then SONE,
yes.
Sasson.
Yes.
Okay. Because I did wonder. I did try to check out. Everybody's doing that little Quebecois in there. I mean,
I know the guys too in the room like that. It's a whole joke now, and they're always like Sasson, like, and Carlson is always telling me I'm the only French American and blah blah. So.
I was about to say though, you got to keep that flair on it, I think.
I know. Well, unfortunately, I've been in the penalty box a couple of times, and so I get to hear the RPA announcer, and he emphasizes the Sasson. So yeah, I mean, I like it though. I don't mind it. I actually got a little chuckle when I was in the starting lineup a couple games ago, and he said it. I was like, "Whoa, okay."
So should we be talking to Al Murdoch to get it right, or are you okay?
No. I mean, he does a great job. Al does a great job. So I'm going to let him do his thing. He's been going at it for a while.
Before I let Landon jump in here, I got to ask you, you played 2 years at Western Michigan. What did it mean for the Broncos to win the Frozen Four for you last year?
Oh, it meant a ton. It meant a ton to me and all the alumni. Western is one of the schools that does a really, really good job of keeping everyone connected. And, every single summer, it's one of the highlights of my summer is that weekend. There's July, I think 21st or 25th, anywhere in there, we get together and there's a big, there's a whole Thursday through Saturday weekend up at school, and teams from 1988. Even probably further back, whenever it started, up until the teams that I was on, and the last couple of years, we all get together. So I bleed the Bronco through and through, and I still have multiple group chats with a bunch of guys from those teams, and I was so excited for them. And Coach Ferschweiler and his whole staff, they did an unbelievable job.
Landon, I will let you in here, but I just have to ask, Glenn Healy or Keith Jones? Who was the greatest player in Western history? Because both of them claim to be.
I think Keith Jones. I think that's we talk about him a lot at school, but both obviously unbelievable players.
Well, that will break Glenn Healy's heart. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
I would just love to. I'd love to hear the discussion between those two deciding who was the best, because neither could get a word in on the other one. It would be amazing to see. But like John said, you had 2 years at Western, and then you went undrafted and you signed with Vancouver. How'd that come to be? Did you have other options, or was that it, or how did it work?
So my sophomore year, I had a pretty good start, and I still really at that time wasn't thinking about anything besides finish, like being in school and maybe wearing a letter one day or anything. And then a couple teams called me, and Scott Young, our assistant coach now, was one of the first people to really, some teams called and they were a little lukewarm of, we like you, this is kind of your start's coming out of nowhere, but we'll keep an eye on you. And Scott Young pretty much called me and said, I've watched you in December. He's like, I've watched you almost every single game you've played this season. He's like, I'm a big believer in you. And, he really made a good pitch for me to come out of school, which I was not thinking about doing. And and then as the season progressed, there was quite a few teams and a bunch of phone calls. But what really stuck out to me was Younger, the conversations I had with him, and I had lunch with Patrick one time in Kalamazoo, and the fact that a team was willing to come to Kalamazoo and take me out to lunch meant the world to me. So that is why I ultimately ended up deciding to sign in Vancouver, and really really happy with how things worked out.
Did you promise your mom and dad to finish your degree at some point though?
My mom cares probably more than my dad, but I definitely I do want to probably finish my degree at some point, especially after my career, if I wanted to. I know if you want to be like a college coach, you have to have a degree, or so definitely something that I have 2 years left, so I should knock that out at some point.
Well, I mean, getting to be around your dad a little bit during the finals in the American League last year, I feel like he's probably gotten over the school decision. He was pretty excited and proud of you going through that stretch. But so you come out of school and you play 7 games in Abbey. That at the end of that season, you get a couple points. But like, what was the biggest thing you took out of that experience?
I could tell right away from even I think I had 2 practices before playing, and obviously in the American League it's different with the schedule, so you kind of can practice a bit longer, a bit harder, just with not as many games. And I just remember playing in the 3-on-3 game, and I was like, these guys are definitely, this isn't college anymore. This isn't going against whoever it may be. These guys are a lot stronger. They hold on to pucks. Their decision making's quicker, and getting into those games. I remember we actually talk about it quite a bit, the guys that were there, that how like badly I would get, because I try to play through the middle of speed, and there was a couple times I took some pretty big hits, especially early in those games, the first couple and through playoffs. And I mean, just knowing that it's a different game. It's also you don't have a cage on anymore, so there's nowhere to hide out there. And everything was just also playing with Niels Hoglander, a guy that had been in the league, I think, for two or 3 years before that. And I knew I was really familiar with him. And then playing on his line, I saw how good and how skilled he was, and how he'd battle in the corners. And, I took a lot from that, and going into that summer, definitely knew how hard I had to train to be prepared for the AHL or the NHL that year. And, it was the best thing for me was to go, I think, to the AHL and not play the 2 or 3 NHL games, whatever it may have been that teams are offering.
So you just tweaked me to something. I wasn't going to ask you about it, but I have to now. Is there that much of a difference wearing a cage versus not wearing a cage?
I mean, my nose was, I have pictures, I don't know, maybe this has just happened. It might've just happened to me, but, my nose got busted open like 3 times in the first 15 games of me playing, including the playoffs. So, I guess there was a difference for me. I don't know if everyone feels that, but every college guy feels that. But it was definitely my face wasn't used to getting beat up.
I just remember like playing U18, so going from junior and a half shield back to a cage again, like you felt invincible. Like you're on the PK, you could dive in front of pucks all over. It was the best feeling ever. But going back again was nuts. Yeah, like the visor cuts in the nose, or
yes.
It's just it is what it is.
Yeah, it is and also the other thing is, going into a corner and a guy sticks his elbow up like while he's going back for a puck and gives you one of these, like you don't really think about it in college. It probably happens, but when you get when it happens in a game and in the American League or the NHL, you're like, oh, that kind of hurt. That stung a bit. So
you mean accidentally on purpose?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
My first camp, or like first summer camp, I went no shield too. Like you could still do that at the time.
Yeah,
and I remember I went through the week and I'm like, it was after day one. I'm like, I need to get a visor on because this is not for me, but I didn't want to say anything during that week. So I played the whole week, went through the games. It was so scary. I don't know how guys do it, or did it, I should say.
I know. Well, I saw Jamie Benn put one. He's the opposite way, because he put one on for like 2 days, I think, a couple weeks ago, and then was like, I don't like this. Yeah, that's the visor's not for me.
So growing up in suburban Detroit, Red Wing fan?
Diehard every Detroit sports team.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, still have huge Lions fan, Pistons fan, Tigers fan. Go to a bunch of Tigers games in the summer, and yeah, obviously growing up in Detroit, being a Red Wings fan for sure.
And your favorite player would have been
Henrik Zetterberg. For sure. Yeah. There was a lot to choose from back then of those teams. So
can you imagine being as a Red Wing fan after being in the playoffs for 25 straight years? They haven't been in for 9.
No. Yeah. When I was growing up, I just thought that, that's, the Red Wings are like, that's the way the NHL works. The Red Wings are always good. So that's crazy.
They got rid of me, John. That was the issue. Let's be honest here. It was a year after.
I don't know. They got rid of you, and they haven't been back since. So you might get a.
Let's say I'm onto it.
You might get a tryout.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be their second. That would be their second mistake then. But like going into your first year in the American League, or like in Abbey that first year, what was your goal through the summer? Obviously getting ready for the year, but what was your goal for the season?
Well, coming into training camp, you obviously, want to play in the NHL. But I figured that probably, everyone does the number game and, this guy's making this much more, whatever. So my goal honestly was to just continue to get better and honestly cement myself as a good pro player. And someone that, maybe if there was injuries or whatever in Vancouver, that I'd be a guy that they could call up and, be kind of a seamless transition and, not have to think too much about it. Going into that year, I wanted to find what type of game that I'd be playing I was a fast player in college, but also you don't know if that is going to be exactly your game. And I found out fairly quickly that I could do that at the American League level and, use my instincts and my skating to push defenders back and create some things. And then also on the flip side, I had to learn the defensive responsibilities. And, sometimes I think in college you could, you could take pucks away from guys easier. And, you kind of learn that sometimes the team's going to set up offensively and they're going to get, guys are good at holding on to pucks. Guys are good at finding little areas. So, holding your structure and the IQ of trying to sort through, the D zone and ultimately end up getting a stop and get it out was a big key.
So what are your strengths as an NHLer? Where do you think that you fit into a hockey club like the Canucks?
I think I can, I think I can play, any of the 3 forward positions. I think that's a good key.
Do you have a preference?
I like playing center, but, at the end of the day, I might get tried on wing. I mean, who knows? With our roster now, but I think I'm a speedy player. I think I can help break out pucks. I think I can make good decisions in that area of the ice, and I think I can put a little bit of fear into the defenseman of my speed and maybe get the team to back up a little bit. And I think with my speed and my instincts, I can help a third, fourth line on a forecheck and complement really whoever I play with.
We're in youth hockey. I say youth hockey because I'm trying to talk to an American rather than minor hockey. We say minor hockey in Canada. In youth hockey and through the USHL, were you always the fastest guy on your team?
No.
So how did that change? Because you're the fastest guy on this team, I think, now, aren't you?
Me and Jake always, because I don't know, Ogie looks pretty fast too. But there's that NHL edge says that I think Jake has the fastest burst of the season. I think by about 0.004 or something.
Not like you're checking though.
No, never. No, I have no clue.
That's unfair though, Sass, right? Like both DeBrusk and Höglander, like they got the shorter legs, the quicker strides, right? Like you got the longer strides. I wonder if that plays into it.
Well, I don't know. There's like the 22 mile per hour burst. No one's checking that though. But no, honestly, in my USHL teams, my first couple years, I really don't remember being. I mean, even the guys that I played with back then, or say, when did you get fast? Or I'm not sure when exactly happened. I do know that there's a skating coach, Corey Elkins. I've worked with him a lot, and also my strength and conditioning coach, John Reyes. He we preach a lot of track, like we do a lot more probably plyometrics and track work than most gyms, or at least back then we did. So I'd credit those guys, and a lot of hard work and a lot of different running up hills and different speed training metrics, and and I still continue to want to get faster every summer because I think part of trying to stick in the NHL, like everyone is good at something, and to be elite, and you can keep pressing on and obviously getting better at your weaknesses, but adding to your strengths, I don't think is probably undervalued too.
So talking your speed, and John had just been talking about positions like center or wing. Like there has been a decent amount of talk, in the media side in this market of, are you, a center, or are you a better fit at wing? Do you, like with your speed, do you see why people are kind of curious about that? Like, have you played wing before?
Yeah, I actually played, I played 29 games last year. I probably played 13 or 14 on the wing. And obviously with today's game, I think it's somewhat positionless hockey. Obviously, most teams want their center as the low guy, and obviously faceoffs are crucial. But I could see why people. I mean, I think sometimes as a speedy winger, you can maybe get some more breaks and odd man rushes, and if you're pushing the pace and the chip and into the neutral zone and slashing over. I mean, I would feel comfortable on the wing. I don't mind that. And also I continue to work with our coaches on faceoffs, and I actually talked to your dad the other day about it. And
oh yeah, was he talking about the pie again? Did he bring that up?
No, he was giving me some tips, just like watch Crosby, like watch these guys, and I think I generally think that my faceoffs have gotten better throughout the year, throughout this year for sure. I think my percentage isn't great, but I mean, my start, if you would have saw my start, I think I lost my first 25 at 30 draws. So it's tough to climb back into the 50% range after that. So yeah, sorry, I don't know. I'm just rambling on.
No, I'm curious about what do you. So when we're watching you in the face-off circle, what are you working on? What do you try to do first, or obviously it's different in the defensive zone than the O zone, but what's the key to winning a face-off?
Well, I think First off, don't get kicked out, which I've had a bad habit of my first probably 20 games this season. But no, I'd work with Jason Krog a lot, our skills coach, about we watched a bunch of my face-offs, probably 100 of them in his office probably a month ago, and I found that when I wasn't the opposing center was lower than me, I would lose probably 80% of those draws. And so I'm working on definitely my leverage and getting a lot lower. And then also, winning the faceoffs on your weak side, I think is probably the hardest thing to do. I think with we have 4 lefty centermen, so we get a lot of work on some teams have 2 righties, 2 lefties, and the righties take them on the right side and the lefties take them on the left side. So continuing to get better at that, and honestly learning from a guy like Gatu Ratu. If you come to a practice, we will take 100, 200 faceoffs a day with our assistant coaches. So and he really stresses just beating the guy to the puck. So I guess honestly, I think there's a lot of ways to win a faceoff, and if you look around the league, like there's some guys that use their power, there's some guys who use quickness, there's some guys that use their timing. So
just to follow up on that, you always hear people talk about it takes a few years for young players to figure out faceoffs in the NHL. How much do you think it's them getting better at faceoffs, or them getting to know the players and their tendencies more after?
Or the linesman.
I was just about to say the lines. I think the biggest thing would be the linesmen. They really are not lenient at all. If you watch Scott Lawton take a face-off, I can't believe. I don't know why I shouldn't even be throwing this. It doesn't matter though. But we were looking when we played Toronto, and he should get kicked out probably every single face-off. But he's played however many games, and they're not going to do that. And I actually asked the linesman in that game, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not kicking him out for that." And I was like, "You'd kick me out though?" And he said, "Yeah." So part of it is, the more games you get, I think these linesmen are more lenient with what they let you do.
I'll tell you what, the guy you played on, I guess it was Sunday. Sid was well under 50% his first couple of years. Yeah. And Connor McDavid too. Connor McDavid was under 50%, and now both of them are. Well, Sid's a machine now.
I want to say Connor's under 50% this year again.
Well, you may be right, because you're always right now these days.
Face-offs are tough, right? Like they are very hard. There's a reason why you played for Manny down in Abbey. Like there's a reason that, not that he wasn't a good player, but like he played a lot longer because he was an unbelievable face-off guy.
Yeah. No, it's something that I continue to work at, and I have seen a difference, even if the percentage. Because I kind of stopped, like the percentage is what it is, but it's how, sometimes you're going to lose a face-off. That's just how it goes. But I watch, did maybe the puck was dropped a little on his side, and if I'm not losing them super clean and I'm getting under his stick and, you lose them that way, then, that is what it is. And I think those will end up going your way. So, it's something I continue to work at.
How do you like Vancouver as a city?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's awesome. Driving in from South Van every day into the city and seeing the mountains, the water. It's awesome, and honestly, just so fortunate to play here and be a part of the city, and also just how passionate the fans are. What
did you know about Vancouver before you signed? And not as a hockey team, but just it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah, it really is. I knew I came here when I was 11 years old for a family vacation in the summer, and we went to Whistler and we went to Vancouver. I remember it being really beautiful. I remember we did some rafting thing. I knew the city was, really prestigious. And I knew they had a hockey team. Was about it.
So you end up, I would assume you were really confident with your chances of making the team out of camp this year and, just being up full time, but you end up in Abbey and you play a couple games down there and you score in both, but you get called back up and then you proceed to score. I think it was 3 in your first 5 games. Like you just came shot out of a cannon. So I would imagine you're pretty high there, but then you go 10 games without scoring. Like what's that high and then that low like and then working through it?
Yeah. It is, I think I've done a better job this year. But it's still something I work at. I think last year I started off, I had like 6 points in my first 12 games or something. And then I think I didn't have a point for the next 17 before I got sent down. I think the line that I try to use or tried to use this year is, this too shall pass. You have a great game, you have a goal. Everyone's saying how great you are. Like this will pass. You've gone not 10 games in a row, without a point. That'll pass too. And it's more just the process of, are you getting chances? Are you showing up to the rink early? Are you getting your work in? Are you going on the ice like before practice, after practice? Are you, to recovering? I think you do all those things. And, I think at the end of the day, at least in my career, it's, when it all is like, it'll work out at some point. So, it's like haven't really had any, assists this year. It's like, well, I'm constantly working on, things with Krogger and zone entries and moving around the rink and like the Sedins are moving their sticks. Like, I think you just got to keep working and keep working. And I think, it's going to happen. Right. So.
So that's the fascination of being on the West Coast too, is because there are so many other obstacles. Like, how have you managed keeping your head on straight with all the travel? So, which is so much different than even when you were. I mean, Abbotsford last year when you were going to Charlotte for the Calder Cup Finals was something, but travel in the NHL is a different animal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it's a lot, to be honest. Yeah, I think we probably. Us or Florida probably has the worst travel in the league, I'd say. But yeah, it's extremely hard. Going. I think we've been to the East Coast 2 times this year, and all those trips are. You get in, and it feels you're all discombobulated, and then maybe you go to a Nashville or a Chicago the next night where it's an hour, and then you go to Dallas. So yeah, this travel is extremely hard, especially with the season the way it is this year with the games so close. I think just trying to, get your rest a lot. And I think it's worn down a lot of the guys around the league too. And, but especially with our travel, I think, using your resources like, Alex Trinka, Mark Cesare, the guys, our sports science team, to try to best get recovered and get you ready.
What's been your favorite city to go into so far this year? And that could be, well, now I'm kind of curious because I've just thought of another one in there, but favorite place to play and then favorite place you've gotten to just go out and get a dinner.
Yeah. Favorite place to play, has to be Montreal. I think that's probably a pretty standard answer. I think everyone says that. I mean, it feels like a European soccer game playing in there. It's insanely loud, obviously. You guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Favorite place? Yeah, I'll say going to Florida was pretty nice. Like I really enjoyed walking around and getting dinner and hanging out in Tampa. I thought Tampa was pretty cool.
That's a pretty nice setup there when you look at where the hotels are and where the
Yeah,
arena
and
is.
like the arena's right on the water. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. What's your go ahead, Landon.
Well, I think kind of on the same line here, but are you organizing the dinner or are you just following?
No, I'm organizing. I'm organizing it all.
Oh, really?
For sure. Yeah. The our group just keeps adding too. So yeah, there's honestly, I have a group chat with like 13 guys, and depending on the night, we might have 6 or we might have 13. So yeah, I tried. And then they all love, so we go to the dinner and then everyone texts, 6, 8, like whatever they thought the rating of the dinner was. They always say we appreciate it. And then sometimes they're like, but that was terrible. Or, or, that was great. So yeah, I try to do my best. I try to, look maybe a week ahead to see where we might go, or ask maybe if I have a buddy that plays on that team or whatever.
Who's your best friend in the NHL other than on your team?
I think I have 2. Al Kraguli plays in Edmonton, and then Matt Kessel plays in St. Louis. Both grew up 2 minutes away from me. Have known them since I was like 6 years old.
And so the conversations when you were 6 were, we're all going to play in the NHL?
No, definitely not. The conversations were probably, hopefully we make the honey bake team the next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was enough stress in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heck, I mean, between honey baked and Compuair and Little Caesars, I mean, man, those were vicious times.
Yeah. Yeah. They really were. And that was when I think now they do U15. I know they've always done that in Canada, but in Michigan now they do U15, U16. And I was one of the guys that didn't make the U16 team. So like that was a whole thing but now like everyone's U15. So I remember U16 though. If you made the U16 team as like one of the young guys, it was a big deal.
Okay, what's your cheat food when you got an extra day and you're going to say, I'm just going to just go and get what I want? What are you eating? What are you eating?
I mean, honestly, I kind of probably like a nice pizza.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Would you consider that a cheat food?
Yeah, that's a cheat food. I mean,
okay.
Your sports science guys will have a fit that you're eating pizza.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Depends when.
Yeah. I mean, but I figured you might have tried like I'm not sure how many Donair shops there are in Detroit versus there are in Vancouver. So
yeah, well, we don't call it Donair, but yes, there is actually
Heroes, right? You call them Heroes, right?
Yeah.
So
John brings this one up to everyone. Like John, I'm starting to really figure out here that you really love a Donair, right?
No, I have never had one. I've never had one.
You've never had one, but you bring it up every
I do because I'm a lot. I know you find this hard to believe. I'm a lot older than you guys.
Oh, right.
But I love fast food. I love fast food. I mean, in the business that I'm in television, you live on fast food for years, and so you have to sustain yourself. And I always been marveling at athletes that every once in a while they eat well. They get you see them walking out of the arena after the morning skate. They got their lunch in their box there, and then they got another meal, and then they're on the plane. They got another meal, and in the meantime, I'm going to Burger King. So I'm always wondering
the spicy chicken sandwich for Burger King. I really like that.
I was about to say, I guarantee a lot of the guys as they're getting on that plane and they see you going to Burger King would rather be going to Burger King.
Yeah.
What about reading? Are you a reader? Are you a music guy? What's going on?
Yeah, big and well, recently I've been reading a lot because I thought that I was getting a little dumb because I wasn't using my brain a ton. So I have been reading recently a couple books.
And fiction or nonfiction?
I'm a nonfiction guy, so okay. I like reading biographies and history books. So yeah, me and Brett Atu, he reads a lot, and he kind of got me into it. And then we're both really big into the history stuff. So when we were in Philly, we went to the like American Revolution Museum.
Oh, yeah.
So and then music, yeah, I love music. Yeah, I like, honestly, I'm across the board. If my playlists have everything from house music, rap to country, rock, folk. I mean, I got it all.
Last concert you went to?
I went to a Zach Bryan concert this summer. Did I go to it? No, we went to, there was a couple in Abbey last year, John Party. So yeah, I mean, I don't go to a lot of concerts though, but I have been going to a lot of comedy shows actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Any big names?
Sam Morril, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis.
Oh, yeah, Shane Gillis. Yeah,
he's a big name.
Did you
now,
go
yeah.
when he was in town?
No, I went to the one in Detroit, but
okay,
and it was hilarious. And then in New York, actually, a couple of us went to the Comedy Cellar. You guys know what that is?
Yeah,
yeah. So we went there, and that was really funny because some of the low key people that you wouldn't know, I mean, they could still make you laugh. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wait,
when you're
how
not
did this
expecting
podcast
it.
start? Sorry, I got a question for you guys.
What's that?
When did this podcast start? Like, how did you guys?
36 minutes ago.
No.
What was it? July?
Yeah, we started middle of June. Middle of June. So we try to do 2 shows a week, and on some weeks we only do 1 show because it all depends on your team's schedule. And
do you guys only do like Canucks?
The name of the show is 100% Canucks.
Yeah.
And this isn't a locker room speech. There's no 110. There's no 10% going somewhere else. So,
well, I can send you a whole joke on that one too. So, so anyway, listen, Max, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, this is fun.
Yeah, it's good. Well, that's Max Sasson. How was that? Was that right?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, Max Sasson. This is 100% Canucks.
All right, listen up. Today I want to talk about giving 110%. Giving 100% means giving everything you got. Giving 110% means giving 10% more than is humanly possible. If we're going to win as a team, we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. If only 50% of you guys give 110%, and 50% of you guys give 100%, I guarantee you 100%, we'd only win 50% of our games. Suppose 75% of the 110% gave only 50%, and 50% of the 100% gave 25%, and 75% of the 110% were not feeling 100%, then we'd be in a heap of trouble. That's why we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. Okay. Let's go out and play some hockey.
You know, I've said this a few times on this podcast, Landon, in dealing with a lot of the young guys on this roster. But there's some really good personalities. There's some really good people that we've been able to talk to on this program. And I know it's been an awful season. I know that. I know that, you know, this is a classic. It's got to get dark before the dawn. But if you can believe in the people, the amount of guys that we have talked to that you feel better after you've talked to them, you know, add another name to it. Max Sasson is one of those guys that you can't help but like and can't help hope that he's going to be able to contribute to the Canucks in the future.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's something the Canucks and the management group and their scouts are really focusing on. Like, of course, you want to find and draft and sign the best players that you possibly can, but you also need those people to be high character and people that can work in a group really well together and can push each other and all of that. So, you know, like finding a guy like Sass and, you know, hearing him talk about Scott Young, calling him and watching all his games and going into it, like I would imagine, you know, one of the first times that Scott Young would have went and watched and talked to Max, he liked the game, and that's what got him to talk to him. But the conversation's what brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a very short time, just like you had the opportunity today of talking to him in a very short order, you can tell that this guy's got his head on straight. He's got a lightness to him, but then he can get serious too and break something down, but then crack a little joke about himself as well, right? Like he's someone that you want on your team. You want building a culture and being a part of that group that is, in a lot of ways resetting the culture here. A lot of these pieces have moved out already and more are going to continue to go. You need to make sure that you have, a guy like Sasson, a guy like Carlson, as much as you need those, like the good veteran players, you need those 25, 26-year-olds that are a bit older, but are still in that young group.
Mm-hmm.
And can, they're kind of grouped in there, but can also take care of them on the road, make sure they get to a good dinner, or when he's going to recover. And maybe one of the 20-year-olds is a little tired that day after practice, and he's just kind of walking into the back to go shower up and get out. Like Sass could be a guy that is grabbing him and no, hey, we got to go do this. And the other guy's like, you're right. Like just little things like that. It's really important.
I like the fact that he actually he admitted he goes to NHL Edge and checks out speed.
Yeah. Honestly, though, when you're a fast guy, guaranteed, like for me, I was a skater too, right? Okay. I would have been all over that stuff. Well, actually, that's a lie, or it's not a lie, but in Germany, we had all the tracking stuff. That was one of the first things I looked at every game. It was like my little prize that didn't mean anything. I wanted to get the top speed in the game.
So you came off the ice, you sat in your stall, and you'd check that before the stat sheet?
Well, no, it would be, like I'd get out of my gear, I'd do my cool down, and then I'd grab my phone and go into the trainer's office. And because I generally always need work, I'd pull up the game sheet and, you'd check the box score and see how it was. But then I very quickly scrolled a couple more times and got down to the bottom. It was always the hardest shot, and then you had to click one over to the right to get to the speed. The shot was never up for debate. That wasn't going to be me, but I had a chance at the speed.
Well, that's the magic of that SAP company. They're ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Of course, SAP owns the San Jose Sharks, and they're a big driver of NHL Edge.
They also have two of the rinks in Germany as well, Mannheim, and I believe Munich's new one as well.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I think their company's doing okay.
You think so, huh?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
And they have a kid named Macklin Celebrini playing for them. They're doing okay for sure.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for this, Landon. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. Awesome. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening and watching this edition of 100% Canucks.